All right, we're doing cosine of 210 degrees. We start here and we go to 210, which is 30 degrees past. Now, I'm not going down, I'm going to be going up to the x-axis right there. And if I went 30 degrees past, that's a 30-degree angle right there, okay? Still a right triangle as always. Opposite 30 is going to be negative 1/2. Can you figure out why it's going to be negative 1/2? Well, look at the y. You're down in quadrant 3, and anything in quadrant 3 has a negative x coordinate and a negative y coordinate, right? So you can kind of imagine this as a point, like x comma y, and both of those would be negative because in quadrant 3 you're negative. You're on the negative x-axis, and since you're below the x-axis, you're also in negative y. And then the really cool thing is that your hypotenuse is always positive 1. So you never have to worry about that. Just the other two sides of the triangle. Okay, so we're dealing with cosine of 210 degrees, and that's adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent to that reference angle right there is negative root 3 over 2, and the hypotenuse is 1. So we get negative root 3 over 2. Man, really love trig. We got SOHCAHTOA, we got special triangles, we got graphing angles, we've got this. Alright, tangent of 315 degrees, so tangent of 315 degrees is right here. If you're wondering how I'm graphing that so quickly, like I know this is 270 and that's 360, and I also know these problems are rigged because it says without a calculator. So if you can't do it with a calculator, anything that ends in a 5 has to be a 45-degree angle. So we are going to connect this to the x-axis, and there is our 45-degree reference angle. Opposite 45 in this particular triangle is negative root 2 over 2 because that side is below the x-axis. This one's not negative though because it's the x-axis, so that's positive, and that's 1. So then we get the tangent of 315 degrees. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, so this is opposite negative root 2 over 2 over adjacent, which is root 2 over 2, which equals negative 1. Okay, so there's that one. Let's flip it over and just finish up these last couple ones. I'm going to bring our post-it note over just in case we have questions, and we'll go from there. So we have sine of 240 degrees, so we are going to draw the angle. 240 degrees is like down here. So it's going to be 60 degrees past 180. There's my right triangle, so that's 60 degrees. So then that's going to be opposite that will be negative root 3 over 2. Up here will be negative 1/2, and this will be 1. And again, this is negative x and negative y. And then let's do sine. So sine of 240 degrees, a sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So we have negative root 3 over 2 all over 1, which is negative root 3 over 2. This is the benefit of being on the unit circle, is that everything has a radius of 1. So when you're doing sine and cosine, you just end up getting your x coordinate. We're not always on the unit circle, so you can't just make a formula where the hypotenuse is always 1, but without a calculator, we're on the unit circle. So 300 degrees, 30 degrees past the 270 because these guys are rigged. I'm going to draw a line up to the x-axis. That means this is 60 degrees right there because if that little sliver was 30 degrees past, so that has to be 60. So this is negative root 3 over 2, 1/2 and 1. Ooh, this one's going to get a little bit fun. Tangent of 300 degrees is opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to move my sticker out of the way here. Opposite is negative root 3 over 2 over adjacent, which is 1/2. So this is where we have a fraction and a fraction. You can only have one fraction bar in math, so the way we do this one is we copy the first one, we dot the fraction bar, and we flip the last one. And then the 2's cancel, and we get negative root 3 over 1, which is negative root 3. Okay? So just a little bit of a copy dot flip. You might want to write that on there so you know what you did. Copy, dot, flip. This is like the ownership part, like just making sure you take little notes so you can remind yourself. 45 degrees, so like both of these, I already know both of these are 45-degree angles because it says you can't do it with a calculator, so no calculators allowed, and they both end in 5. So 405, this is 360, and then 45 more puts me at that angle right there. So this is a 45-degree reference angle. So that's root 2 over 2, that's root 2 over 2, and that's 1. We're doing the cosine of 405 degrees. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's going to be root 2 over 2 over 1, which is root 2 over 2. Alright, sine of 495, 360, okay, 36, 45. This right here would be 54, so this is where 495 is. We drop it down to the x-axis. This is root 2 over 2. Let's get that in the appropriate color pen. Negative root 2 over 2 because I'm in the negative x-axis, and 1. Sine of 495 degrees is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, which is root 2 over 2 over 1, which is root 2 over 2, which gives you that.